Hi everybody, we're going to talk about some exceptions to Mendel today, so that dominant recessive idea. So not all traits are dominant and recessive, and some traits don't just have one gene that control them. So we're going to take a look at some examples of those today. So the first one I want to talk about is incomplete dominance. So one allele is not completely dominant over the other, and when you get a heterozygote, you get a blend. Okay, so for example, Japanese 4-o'clocks are a type of plant, and they produce these really nice flowers. If the plant has only the R genes, then it will have red flowers. If it has only the W genes, then it's going to get white flowers. But if it gets one of each of those genes, so it's a heterozygous genotype, then the flowers are pink. So here, for incompletely dominant, instead of the red taking over or the white taking over, you actually get a blend of the two genes and it produces pink flowers. And a lot of flowers actually have this incomplete dominance thing going on. So let's take a look at an example problem of that. So in humans, hair type is incompletely dominant. The C gene is going to give you curly hair. The S gene gives you straight hair. And if you have the heterozygous genotype, then you will have wavy hair. So for this example, two heterozygous parents meet. So heterozygous means different. So that means they're going to have one of each of the genes. So they're going to have, parent number one is going to have CS, and parent number two will also have CS. All right, they're incompletely dominant, so it doesn't really matter which one of them comes first as long as you're consistent, but I just, alphabetical here. So the parents are heterozygotes. They each have two of different genes, so the C and the S. So if we do the square here for this first box, we're going to get CC. For the second box, we're going to get CS. For the third box, we're going to have CS. And the fourth box, we're going to have SS. Okay, so for the genotypes, you're going to write the genotypes that you have in the square and the number you have of each. So I have one CC combination. I have two of the CS's, so two heterozygotes, and I have one of the SS combination. So there's my genotypes. All right, for the phenotypes, you're going to write the traits that you got from the square and the number you have of each. Okay, so the CC combination will give you curly hair. So you only have curly hair genes. So I would have one curly. CS is heterozygous, so that's going to give you wavy hair. So I have two wavy. And then SS, the S genes only, will give you straight hair. So I have one straight hair. So now I'm looking for the probability of getting wavy hair. So for this one, all right, I have two wavy out of the 4 possibilities, so 2/4. If I want to write that as a percentage, that would be 50%. So I have a 50% chance of getting a child with wavy hair if these two parents were to meet. Right, some other exceptions I want to talk about is something called codominance. So this is similar to incomplete dominance, but instead of getting a blend of traits, like a mix, you get both expressed at the same time. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. And then multiple alleles. Some traits have more than one form of the gene, more than one allele for a particular gene. So the example I'm going to use for this is blood types. So in blood types, there's 3 alleles. So there is the A gene, which is going to give you A proteins, the B gene, which is going to give you B proteins, and I'm saying the O gene, which will give you no proteins. These are often written like this. You'll see this as well, like IA. to make things a little bit simpler, I'm just saying it's I, B, and O. But if you ever encounter that, like in another biology class, that's how you like traditionally write them. Just to keep things a little simpler for you, I'm using A, B, and O as my alleles. So if you have the A gene, you will have A proteins on the surface of your blood cells. If you have B genes, then you will have B proteins on the surface of your blood cells. And if you have the O form of the gene, then you're not going to have any proteins at all. So A and B are going to be dominant to the O gene, and then A and B are co-dominant. So we kind of have a little bit of everything going on in these types of problems. So if we take a look at the blood types here, if you have type A blood, you can either have the genotype big A, or big AO. The A is dominant to the O, so you will still have type A blood. Right, and what that means is you will have A proteins on the surface of your blood cell. If you have a type B blood, you can be BB or BO, and that means you have B proteins on the surface of your blood cell. If you have type AB, so you have an A allele and a B allele, this is where the codominance comes in. So you actually get both of those proteins expressed on the surface of the blood cell. You see both of them for the heterozygote. And then if you have type O blood, then you have only O genes and you will have no proteins on the surface of your blood cell, at least in terms of these. Okay? So let's do a blood typing problem. So in humans, blood types exhibit dominance, codominance, and multiple alleles. So the following genotypes are listed for each blood type. We just went over those. A person who is heterozygous for type A blood. Okay, so heterozygous means different, and we want type A blood. So if I look at the type A blood here, the heterozygous one, the one with different genes in the combination, would be this one. Okay, so parent A, or parent 1, is AO. All right, parent 2, so let me use a different color here, all right, is heterozygous, but for type B blood. So I'm going to look at type B, and I want the heterozygous one, so the one with different genes in it, so that's going to be this one. So parent number 2 is going to be BO. Right, now when I do the inside of the square, this box would be AB, this box would be BO, this box would be AO, and then this possibility is going to be OO. Okay, so now we're going to write our genotypes. So in that square, I got 1 AB, 1 BO, 1 AO, and 1 OO. So those are my genotypes. All right, for my phenotypes, I'm going to look at these genotypes and figure out how many of each of the blood types I have. So for this one, I have 1 type AB, I have 1 type B, I have 1 type A, because AO gives me type A, and I have 1, so OO gives me type O. So there's my phenotypes. Okay, and then for this problem, I wanted the probability of getting AB blood. So I got 1 type AB out of the 4 possibilities, which percentage-wise would be 25%. Right. The last thing I want to talk about is for these genotypes and phenotypes. If you have BO and BB, both of those combinations give you type B for the phenotypes, and if you have AO and AA, then that combination will give you both type A. Okay, so those are the exceptions to Mendel. I'm going to ask you to do a little bit of practice with that tomorrow. Have a good day.